Hello, I'm Braxton Kaiser. Today we'll be chatting with Kenneth Jones, playwright for the upcoming streamed production of Alabama Story at Oak Ridge Playhouse. In the show, a gentle children's picture book about the marriage of two bunny rabbits inflames the passions of a segregationist state legislator and a no-nonsense state librarian in 1959 Montgomery. Another story of childhood friends, an African-American man and a white woman, reunited in adulthood that same year, provides private counterpoint to the public events swirling in the state capitol. This fact-inspired, highly theatrical new American play brims with humor, heart, and humanity. Hello, Kenneth, how are you?
Hey, Braxton, I'm glad to be with you.
Wonderful. So, what was your path to becoming a playwright?
Well, I actually began my career as a journalist. I was always interested in telling stories. I was always interested in the theater as well. So my path in journalism was to be an arts writer, and I became a theater critic and an entertainment writer. And during that time, had always sort of harbored an interest in playwriting, but wasn't quite sure how to make a living at it. So I really stuck with the journalism. And then late in my career, I grew up in Detroit, in the Detroit area. And late in my career, I started to become interested in being a dramatist. My work was dwindling in Detroit, and I decided to move to New York, where I felt I could write more freely and independently. It was pretty clear to me that I wanted to not mix playwriting and criticism in Detroit. It's not, it's a conflict of interest. I was really passionate about what I was doing as a journalist and wanted to be objective. So I moved to New York and I began playwriting in earnest. And all those years of absorbing plays and musicals just taught me structure and taught me how to write better and be a better audience member and be a better a dramatist. So that all fed my creative goals.
Oh, wonderful. So what inspired you to write Alabama Story?
Well, I stumbled across Emily Reed's story. Emily Reed was a librarian in 1959 Alabama who was persecuted by politicians for protecting a children's book, and I read her obituary I guess it was 20 years ago now, and I thought instantly when I read that obituary that she was a great American character, and she had an antagonist in Senator Higgins, who was a primary force in her life, who wanted to drum her out of her job, essentially, and wanted to burn books. I mean, when you have bigger than life characters, like someone who wants to protect something and someone who wants to destroy something, it popped out as a drama, and particularly popped out as a highly theatrical drama where I could, because it was a children's storybook, I could play fast and loose with reality and have people pop up and do monologues, and scenes could be blended. So that really interested me as a theater writer, just to be highly theatrical, not do it as a film, not do it as a docudrama.
So the show is based on true events. However, there's a counter story that was created for the telling of the play. What purpose do Lily and Joshua have in the story?
Well, yeah, the play is a mix of fact and fiction. I really wanted to give some counterpoint to what was happening in the state capitol, in the political part of the story. The library controversy is all about ethics and rules and laws and facts and figures. It's a courtroom drama. It's all indoors. And I really wanted to, and they're all talking about, what kind of access we should give Black people. There's no Black people in this courtroom scene or in this hearing scene. So I really wanted to show how the controversy in the Capitol was affecting regular folks. So I created the roles of Lily and Joshua. They were childhood friends. They grew up together. They reunite in Montgomery that same year and have a conversation just about the past. It's about sort of a reflective, I say it sort of refracts the main story and reflects the main story. And it's a love story. I wanted some perfume in it. I wanted some nature in it. It all takes place outdoors with Lily and Joshua, where all the other stories are largely indoors. I wanted there to be a love story too. There's very much a Romeo and Juliet quality to Lily and Joshua, who are forbidden to be friends as children, and certainly in 1959 Alabama, it is controversial for them to even be talking in public on a park bench. So I wanted to see how those stories collided and ultimately how they connected. And by the end, they do connect, but it's very subtle, and I think it packs an emotional punch for people.
Definitely. So, do you identify with any character in the play?
I probably identify with all the characters in the play. I always put a little bit of myself in everyone. Even the villain, the senator, I really needed to not just make him a one-note villain because there's not much of a play if he's not complex. So I tried to give him some humanity. He didn't just want to burn books. He actually loved books and was in charge of funding books. He just didn't like certain books, including Dr. King's Stride Toward Freedom, which was about the Montgomery bus boycott, including The Rabbit's Wedding, which is at the center of this play, a children's picture book about a black bunny marrying a white bunny. I wanted to make him complex, and he talks about his father a lot, and everybody talks about their parents. And so I think I brought a lot of myself into those talks about what did my parents hand down to me? What books did they hand down to me? And what prejudices did they hand down to me? And what kindness did they hand down to me? So I think that's a big part of me in this play.
So, lastly, what do you hope audiences take from Alabama Story?
Yeah, that changes. It has changed over the years. The play's been produced for about 5 years now in about 35 theaters around the country, and I'm super excited that Oak Ridge is giving its streaming debut. This is the world streaming debut by you guys. Thank you. Um, I used to think I just wanted people to go away with a good yarn, a great story, an entertainment, because I do view myself as an entertainer primarily. But I hope that people start thinking about what character means and what good character is, and how people are challenged in difficult times. Our characters are tested, and so I hope they go away thinking about what good character is and how to behave well when you're pushed up against a wall. I don't mean it to be didactic, or I don't mean it to be a lesson, but I think one of the things that people have said to me about the play is that they are surprised how people change by the end of the play. And I do think people can change. I do think change is possible. So I think that's some of what I want people to walk away with.
Definitely. Well, Kenneth, thank you so much for chatting with me today. Alabama Story will be streaming selected dates September 25th through October 4th. Tickets are on sale now at www.orplayhouse.com. I'm Braxton Kaiser, and thank you for joining us.